Is it a new formula for the Tennessee Volunteers? Well, we were actually in Neyland Stadium just hours ago. Last night we drove from Neyland Stadium to Nashville, Tennessee. We're recording this video now. Had some time to process the post-game press conferences, watch the game back a little bit, get a gauge for what happened, and got some thoughts on this one because I do feel like in Tennessee's 41-20 victory over South Carolina, I don't know if it's a new Tennessee, but the way in which they executed just felt a little bit differently, and I think we need to unpack it. So Tennessee fans, we met a lot of y'all yesterday. Phenomenal. Saw so many of y'all just decked out in your dark attire for the night game, for the blackout uniforms. Like, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. So great to meet y'all. If you have not yet subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel, maybe just double check, click that subscribe button, totally free. Helps us do more of what you want to see. And also just make sure that you are 110% locked in to being a part of this program. So we appreciate y'all for that. Another great way to be a part of the program, follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on Instagram and on Twitter. A lot of y'all already knew that we were in Neyland. A lot of y'all already knew that we were in Knoxville because of y'all keeping up with the social channels there. So we appreciate y'all so much for that. Back to what we said though. This is not 2022 Tennessee. And this isn't a knock on 2022 Tennessee, obviously. That was a phenomenal team last year. Hendon Hooker was back in the building yesterday. And I'm sure he was very pleased to see the result yesterday and the way that his team played. But you hear what I'm saying? This team and the way that they do things feels different, looks different, and the box score looks different. And I think they act a little bit different too with the edge that they play with. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But the game yesterday, I think, embodies what this new formula is for Tennessee, and they ran for 238 yards on the ground, 6 yards a carry, and they were always a run-first operation. Like, we knew that, hey, Tennessee, they're going to run to set up the pass. They're going to run. They're going to go with tempo. They're going to wear you down. They're always run first. Last night, I saw them be run first and run second, and it feels like, again, this might be the way that they do things. They're going to take their shots where they can. They're going to throw where they can. But yesterday, I saw more of a game control approach from Tennessee. I saw a Tennessee that just took the life out of South Carolina. Now, South Carolina, they have their own problems defensively. I understand that. We're not running from that. But for Tennessee, you still had to execute. Joe Milton, he had 32 pass attempts, was 21 for 32, had a touchdown, 239 yards, had the 2 interceptions you don't love. But even with the number of attempts he had yesterday, it wasn't a ton of deep shots. It wasn't a ton of run, shot play. It was run, get the ball out on the perimeter, let them work, bully them out there. Okay, go back inside, run. Okay, intermediate pass game, run. Maybe you get a deep shot in there. Maybe you get that deep shot to Squirrel White like we saw. But even so, like, it feels and looks, and again, in the box score, came out to a different philosophy, a different game plan from Tennessee yesterday. Now, I don't think this is just a one-off. I think from what we've seen from Tennessee throughout the course of this season to this point, I think this is a little bit more true to how they want to play. Does not mean they don't still want to score a million points. Doesn't mean they don't still want to take their shots where they can get them. But I think there is a concerted effort here to playing physical up front the way they did last night, man. And I'll say this, you're only able to play that style of just content offense, game control offense, move the ball with running the ball kind of offense, if your defense is flying around like the way that they did last night, if you're able to play complementary football. And we saw that, man. The box score, again, I hate to use the box score because the box score isn't really football, but I think it's helpful for us to kind of tell this story of what happened last night. 27 carries, 132 yards, 4.9 yards a carry for South Carolina on the ground. Again, that's what the box score says. Box score does not tell the whole story. Because factored into that box score is a 75-yard touchdown run. And you don't want to say, well, if that one play didn't happen, bottom line, that play did happen. You don't excuse it. You fix it on tape today. That's what Sundays are for. Tell the truth Sunday, baby. That's what we do here. But you have to, I think, also take a look at it and say, okay, outside of that play, not subtracting that play, but outside of that play, if you're looking at the total body of work from Tennessee, you outside of that allowed for 57 yards on 26 carries for 2.2 yards a carry. Box scores don't tell the whole story. For the most part, it was domination from that Tennessee defensive line. They harassed that offensive line that had issues at South Carolina. Got Spencer Rattler 6 times, had 8 tackles for a loss. Defense had a pick 6 that set that place on fire. I have it on my Instagram and on my Twitter story, or on my Twitter page and on my Instagram story. I mean, I was pretty sure the powder keg that was Neyland Stadium was literally about to just go up into flames after that kind of play. Like that was the one where I was like, all right, this place is just going to blow up because of how loud it was after that and because of just the energy you could feel in Neyland Stadium after that. And so this defense, going back to my original point here, they are flying around. They are a different version of what we saw last year against this South Carolina football team. And again, South Carolina has their own issues. It's not a South Carolina segment. This is a Tennessee segment. And I'm talking about the way that they handle business as it is compared to last year. No Juice Wells for South Carolina, but Xavier Legette, he can hurt you. And he would have hurt Tennessee had they allowed him to. They didn't. He was held to 50 yards receiving. Tennessee handled business. Tennessee was much more of a lockdown kind of football team yesterday. And lockdown is maybe a little bit hyperbolic, but I don't think we're far off when we use verbiage like that around the way that Tennessee played yesterday. There was an edge, there was an attitude, and that's really the thing. Comparing philosophies or comparing just maybe overall feels around Tennessee when it goes from last year to this year, last year's Tennessee team to me felt very cool, calm, collected, very poised. Never too high, never too low. Next thing is the next thing. Let's roll. And that's phenomenal. And I love that. I'm all about that. I think this year's Tennessee team, watching them play and having been on the sideline and seeing the way that they interact with their teammates and their opponents, like this is a more edgy football team. This is a football team that is aggressive and that is physical and that takes pride in doing both of those. And I think they're starting to grow more and more into that identity. And I think last night was a tremendous step in establishing that identity. Because last night, man, on the field, Tennessee gets in the end zone. Dylan Sampson gets in the end zone. And it was kind of the dagger to really put it away for Tennessee. And that Tennessee offensive line, man, like they were juiced. It wasn't just like, hey, celebrate with the team, like tap each other on the helmet. It was like, hey, we're here. You got to deal with us. We physically imposed our will on you. You can't do anything about it. And we've been doing that all game long. And you saw it not just in that play and the end of that play. Like you saw, especially in that fourth quarter and as the game finished up, like that Tennessee offensive line, they were puffing out their chest. And this is a unit that we talked about really during fall camp as, I don't know if a question mark, but we had questions around that offensive line and what they were going to look like. They straight up dominated yesterday. Again, 6 yards a carry. They were dominant in every sense of the word. And they didn't just do it, they also let you know about it. Edgy football team. And I want to make sure we say this now. It isn't a matter of one style being better than the other when it comes to 2022 Tennessee and 2023 Tennessee. At the end of the day, the style that's best for you as a football team is the style that you execute most consistently and most effectively. That's exactly what Tennessee did last night. Now, I will say this too. When you look forward for Tennessee, when you have that game against Georgia, when you look at the rest of their schedule, and if they want to go and compete for what they want to compete for, they will have to eventually round some things out. Like the pass game probably will have to be a little bit more consistent. You can't have those turnovers. You will have to eliminate some of those explosive plays that hurt you last night. Now, they didn't hurt you to the tune of a loss, but we understand now Tennessee, not a perfect football team, not a finished product, but you found a way to get a statement win, fed off the energy, fed off the moment, fed off of the personal feel in this game from what happened last year, the way the defense was beat last year, and the way they responded this year. Like they harnessed all that, put it forward into a dominant performance. And so when we look at Tennessee, again, they have to be more complete going forward to beat A&M, to win at Alabama. But I think, again, going back to this game, going back to what we saw last night, we felt last night, having been in the stadium, been on the sideline, been out there post-game, like I think this was a tremendous step in Tennessee establishing their identity going forward. It's a scary thing now when a team understands who they are and can execute what they do. I think that makes them extremely dangerous going forward. So again, Tennessee in the blackout unis in a packed out Neyland Stadium with the hard count on hand, with on 3 in the building, made a statement. Final score 41-20 in Neyland. We love y'all. Hey, we appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.